Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with today's Timeless Tarot for August the 30th of 2025, but this is a Timeless Tarot reading, so whenever you find it is exactly when it was meant to find you. We will be pulling 8 cards from the Divine Feminine, 8 cards from the Divine Masculine, in accordance with the 8 human chakras and walking the path of the tarot, so that we can get a better understanding of how best to manifest our highest timeline in accordance with Spirit. I've already done a pre-shuffle on the cards, but I like to get a couple more just to make sure everything is exactly where Spirit would have it. And now we will begin pulling with the base. And in the base, we have the Emperor in reverse. In the Sacral, we have the High Priestess in reverse. In the Solar Plexus, we have Temperance in reverse. In the Heart, we have Strength in reverse. In the throat, we have Death in reverse. In the third eye, we have the Page of Cups. And in the crown, we have the Ten of Swords. We will hold the 8th card from the Divine Feminine deck for the end of the read. Next, we'll pull 7 cards, holding the 8th for the end of the read, from the Divine Masculine deck. The Divine Feminine, the cards that are already on the table, lets us know what the current situation is, the current energies. The Divine Masculine deck lets us know what steps and actions that we can take to help manifest our highest timeline in accordance with Spirit. We will begin pulling with the Crown, and in the Crown we have the Fool. In the third eye, we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. In the throat, we have the Two of Swords in reverse. In the heart, we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. In the solar plexus, we have Judgment in reverse. In the sacral, we have the Queen of Swords. And in the base, we have Temperance in reverse. We will hold the 8th card for the end of the read, but feel free to let us know along the way what you think that these cards may be. Drop them in the box down below if you have a guess as to what may pop up. We have an awful lot of major arcana up here. This is probably going to be the same. Alright, so let's walk the path of the tarot and see what Spirit is trying to tell us today. We begin with awareness. This is awareness that there is a path. It is not quite choosing the path yet. It is where your hopes and despair may lie. The things you are hopeful about, the things you despair about. Neither one are intrinsically good. You should have a good, healthy dose of both. Looks like it might be some despair today. This is the Ten of Swords. Swords is about soul. It is about air. It is thought, intellect, it is communications, and it is combat. So any of those things may be here, but it is in the crown, the awareness of the path. It is probably going to be a thought or an idea. This is the 10, which indicates that there is something to learn about this new path that you are embarking upon. This is the 10 of Swords, which is seen as the betrayal card, or one of the betrayal cards, and it is quite obvious why. This guy has been stabbed in his back 10 times. This can indicate that there is a betrayal currently undergoing in your life. This is the Divine Feminine, the current energies. This might be a despair that is not actually true. You may be feeling betrayed and it is not an actual betrayal, or it may be an actual betrayal currently undergoing in your life. Now, clarifying with some steps that can be taken, actions that you can do from the Divine Masculine, is to become the Fool. If this is a sense of betrayal, the Fool is telling you to walk away from it. The Fool is the key to the entire tarot. He is the guy that walks all of the various paths that we discuss quite often. This is a guy going out to explore, to do, and to engage himself in the world. He is walking down off of this mountain. That is significant for other places. He is fully provided for. He has his pack upon his wand of change. He is arrayed quite brightly. He has got divine providence surrounding him. He has a companion to warn him of the dangers that lie ahead. He is walking up to the edge. He is not about to step off the edge. He is gaining the experience of being on the edge. The Fool is about going out into life and experiencing it, doing the things, learning the things, gaining the experience of the world. This is you. This is you walking away from this sense of betrayal. Now, this may be an actual betrayal, but this is hopes and desires, so it resides mainly in your mind. This is a thoughts card in a thoughts spot. This is probably your thoughts, but it is a combat card, so it can indicate that there is a betrayal. I don't know your particular situation, but if it is just in your thoughts, walk away from those thoughts. If it is an actual betrayal, walk away from the situation. The advice is the same in both instances. Whether this is an actual betrayal or not, you are not to continue to engage in it. Next, we go to the area of choices. This is your dreams and aspirations, the things that you want to create into your life. You see your future with your third eye. This is the area that deals with sloth and diligence. So whether you are working towards those goals that you see in your life, or whether you just expect them to show up with no input from you. It will not show up with no input from you. If you are not doing things, you will not receive things. You have the Page of Cups, which is an understanding. Pages are understandings about emotions, because cups are about emotions. Cups are familial relationships. They are spousal relationships. They are your coworkers and your friends, but it is not the actual people. It is the feelings behind it. This is body spirit. It is water, and it is feelings. This guy is investigating this cup, which has a little fish in it, in order to get a better understanding of the emotions that are attached to whatever the situation may be. If you are feeling a sense of betrayal, this is an understanding that maybe that betrayal is not real, or it might be. Now, this is you envisioning your future. This is where your dreams and aspirations will fully come from, right? You have hopes and fears. You have dreams and aspirations. Your dreams and aspirations are what you see in your future, and you are looking for understanding around an emotional situation. That can be an emotional situation with your spouse. It can be an emotional situation with a coworker, with anyone that you talk to, right? But it is an emotional situation. It brings emotions up to you. And if you are feeling a sense of betrayal, there is definitely an emotion that is being brought to you. This is you coming to the understanding about the betrayal, right? It doesn't have to be linked to this card, but it can be. This trinity is linked and this trinity is linked, so there is a double link right there. But clarifying with some actions that can be taken is to just keep working. Right, this is the harvest card. It is a 7 and 7, signify the harvest, the completion of the first path of provision, which is merely existing. The second path of provision is generational provision, right? And so this is a harvest of the first path of provision. This is bringing an ending to something. What we see here is he is leaning upon his farming implement, and he has one fully developed fruit already, but these other ones are still on the vine because they are not quite ready. Now, some people look at this as, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is my efforts worth it? But I really don't, because this is a harvest card, not a nurturing card. And so this is right as the harvest is unfolding in your life, right? It is not pulling all of the crops off of the tree. The harvest is not quite fully here yet. You have this in the reverse. Now, when it is standing tall, this is continue working. The harvest is imminent. In the reverse, the harvest is a little bit farther away, but it is still a harvest, right? There may be another step that you need to take to finally get to the harvest. That appears to be understanding. This, keep your head down and continue working. You're almost to the harvest, which is what this is going to represent. In the reverse, right? This is you're almost complete. This is you're a little bit farther away. This is the harvest is imminent. This is the harvest is a little bit farther down. This harvest is probably tied to this emotional situation. And the only way that you're going to realize the full harvest is by understanding the emotion. Now, let's start getting into the hard parts of this. Next, we're going to go to the part of lessons. These are things you learn. It is the area of communication, and it is your throat chakra. That governs pride and humility, which is taking too much credit for your work, not enough credit for your work, and neither are intrinsically good. You should take pride in a job well done. You should not be prideful in it. Now you have the death card, right? This is a lesson in a lesson, right? Now this is a 13. 13 is going to be overcoming and nurturing. Is that right? Yeah, that is a 13. Okay, so this is going to be the clarifier for the Queen of Swords. We got her. And so this can indicate that there is a thought that you need to put it into. This is a clarifier for a sword. So while it is not a swords card, it is attached to the swords path. You have a clarifier from the swords. This is probably dealing with communication. This is a communication area. This indicates, like if this is standing tall, this is in a small way a victory card. He is riding victorious and he has got his banner, right? That's the one he fights under. He is riding the white horse, and the white horse signifies victory or assistance. He is coming over the emperor who is down here. He has defeated the emperor. This is the new authority assuming its place. This is the death of the old system. This is the change coming in with new thoughts. You have this in the reverse, which is a little bit harder to read, right? If this is standing upright, there is an end to a situation, but it's in the communication spot. So there may be the end of a fellowship or a friendship. If this is a true betrayal, the understanding of that is the death of the situation. Now, I keep going to betrayal because this is a betrayal card. It doesn't necessarily have to be betrayal, but it can be something aligned in that direction. You have this in the reverse, so maybe you're not to put an end to this, right? Maybe this is truly a misunderstanding and you need to be the fool, willing to learn, willing to understand, willing to get the new experiences. Maybe that understanding is that it was not actually a betrayal because it is presented in the reverse. If it was presented like this and with these other cards, I would be like, yeah, that's probably the end of the relationship, right? Not necessarily, but probably. You have this presented in the reverse, which means that it is not the imminent energy. There is a different energy, but it is still the end of a situation, right? Maybe the situation resolves in a positive manner as opposed to a breaking apart type of a situation. But this is in the communication spot. It does indicate some kind of a nurturing spirit that needs to happen. I know death doesn't seem like it's nurturing, but without death, there is no new life, right? All things are one, and therefore there is no energy created or destroyed. It is merely a recycling, and when your temple goes away, it will fuel something else. This is the new situation unfolding from the old situation going away. This is maybe the death of an authority, but probably not. This is more than likely a communication. Now, I say that this is the Two of Swords, right? Swords are thought, intellect, communication, and combat. This is the two, which is a hard choice. This is a combat or communication card in the communication spot. So, and this is another tangentially related communication card. This is probably communication related. It does appear that you are not putting into this situation, that it is a misunderstanding. This lady is seated here. She has the waters of life behind her, and she is sitting upon the ground. And she has these two swords, and these two swords represent a hard choice. That is what she represents. Now, twos are always a choice. Ones, you get presented with a path. Twos, you make a choice about that path. And then three, you learn something about it. Right now, she is underneath the moon, indicating the night. There are various implications behind that, but she is blindfolded, making a choice without prejudice, right? That is what this is. You've got this in the reverse, which means that maybe it's an easy choice, right? It is still a choice. It is still around a communication, but maybe it's a little bit easier. Maybe you actually do have some of the information where she is blind. Maybe this is you coming to an accommodation, right? By making a choice about this situation that is death. Now, that is the rejuvenation of a relationship, possibly. With death in the reverse and the hard choice in the reverse, it may be an easier choice than it first appears. Next, we go to understanding. And how do you understand? By learning from things, right? Whether you are going out into the world and learning, or whether it is coming to you, it is through interactions. And these interactions are personal relationships. So this is interpersonal relationships, but it is also who you are. This is the area that governs greed and charity. Greed is the love of the mortal coil, liking the things a little bit too much. Charity is the love of the spiritual coil, not liking the things quite enough. Neither one is intrinsically good. What you have today is strength, right? In the reverse, which can indicate that maybe you need a little less strength. Now this is going to be an 8. The 8 is the presentation of a new path. It is the presentation of the new path. Because it is the major arcana, this is going to be the clarifier for the 8 of Swords. And so once again, we have the Swords energy being thrown into here. Not directly, there's no sword in the card, but this is the clarifier for the 8 of Swords. This is the path of higher thoughts. This is separating the valid thoughts from the invalid thoughts. That is what this symbolizes. This is you overcoming temptation. That is what strength symbolizes, making the appropriate choices to do the thing. Now, she has infinite possibilities over her head, but she is holding the mouth of this lion closed. She is not holding it open. She's not trying to pry it open. She is holding it closed because this represents temptations, and she is resisting those temptations. You have this in the reverse, and this is not something that has been uncommon, which, like this temperance in reverse, this is not uncommon either. You're probably holding yourself to too high of a standard. There may be something about which you need to relax in a situation. This sense of betrayal is quite possibly linked to you misunderstanding something. If this was presented in the upright, this is stands firm in yourself, right? That is what strength would symbolize here in the core of you, who you are, and your interpersonal relationships. But you're being told, right, it is still the presentation of a new path. There is still some strength to be in the position, but it's in the reverse, which means that maybe you are being too strong. Now, clarifying that with some actions that can be taken, we've got the Queen of Pentacles. Queens are about nurturing energy. It is not planting your crops. It is not harvesting your crops. It is weeding, watering, and fertilizing, given the appropriate energy in the appropriate way to receive the appropriate harvest. When she is standing tall, this is the divine feminine in the provisionary path, fully developed, fully mature. She is making the appropriate choices around emotions. She's making the appropriate choices around other people and interactions, right? They're fully developed feminine. No jealousy, no bitterness, none of those things you would associate with the female girl, right? The teenage girl. She got it in the reverse, which indicates that there may be some of those particular qualities. Maybe there is not enough of the divine feminine maturity, right? The understanding and nurturing energy is the feminine. Now, when this presents upright, you are to give energy to your provisionary path to reach the harvest. This is a little bit less of that energy. This is reserving your energy from the provisionary path instead of nurturing it. Now, you have here, right, this X, that makes a path as well. And you've got this card, which is the continue working in the reverse. And you've got this card, which is invest your energy in the reverse. So there may be something about the current path you are on that is not the right one. It would require coming out of your strength in order to come to the nurturing energy that you need to get to that. Or, right, if this is nurturing the provisionary path when it is standing tall, then backing out of your strength and not nurturing the provisionary path is finding a new path. Next, we go to the area of challenges. This is once you have the understanding, you rise to meet the challenge. This is the area that governs gluttony and temperance. The overconsumption of things, the underconsumption of things, and neither one is intrinsically good. Now, you've got temperance in the temperance spot. Now, you've got it in reverse, which may indicate that you are a little bit too rigid. We have that in other places. And so this can indicate that you are holding on a little bit too tightly, that you are holding yourself to the highest standard, like what I do, right? I hold myself to a very high standard, and you have a misunderstanding of what some of those things may be. You may need to, for instance, this is consumption, so say for instance, there's alcohol, right? For a very small amount of people, alcohol should be completely shunned. Those people who have alcoholism and cannot control themselves, they should not partake. Most people, however, it's okay to partake every once in a while in moderation with people or even by yourself in small amounts. For the most part, there is nothing wrong with alcohol. But if you, for instance, said that I'm not going to drink alcohol and you are not an alcoholic, that is an imbalance, right? If you are doing it on moral grounds as opposed to health reasons, it is an imbalance. And so this presenting in that position, right, the consumption area, can indicate that maybe you need to drink a little bit, right? Not to go out and get pissy drunk, not to pass out, no blackouts. Don't spend your paycheck, but you can go have a couple of drinks with your friends, right? Go and get this misunderstanding sorted out. Go and figure out what is going on with this communication. This is to relax a little bit. If this was standing tall, this is you making the appropriate choices. This angel is balancing the waters of life between the upper and the lower. It's got 1 foot on the water and 1 foot on the land, indicating balance. It's got a crown of divine providence right here. These lilies in the back indicate life. This is making the appropriate choices in the appropriate way to reach the appropriate thing. Now, this is also, what is the number on this? This is going to be a 14. 14 is a harvest. And so this indicates that there is the end of something, right? But it's in the reverse, so it may be the beginning of something. Probably not, right? It is the harvest, not the new beginning, right? We would have got the next card if it would have been that. And so this is a harvest. This is about your decisions and the consumption of things. That is temperance. This is you being a little bit out of balance in your current situation. Now, clarifying that with some actions that can be taken. We've got the Judgment card in reverse. The Judgment card, when it is presented upright, is calling you into the new life, right? That is what is happening here. All of these people are in their caskets. They are being called out by this angel with his St. George's cross into a new life. All of them are happy. Nobody's on fire. It seems to be like a fairly agreeable situation. Everybody is happy about this. They are being called into the new life. But you're not, right? This is less of that energy. If this is you relaxing a little bit, this is you kind of leaning into the old life, maybe. I don't ever really recommend going back to bad patterns in your life, but maybe there is something that you need to resume, right? This presented upright is the brand new start of things. This is a 20. Now, a 20 is going to be the same energy as a queen, given the appropriate energy and the appropriate way to get to the appropriate harvest. This is the card right before temperance. And so this can indicate that there is a little bit more balance that needs to be stricken in your life to give that correct energy. This queen and this judgment are the same card on different levels in different places, but this is the 20, so it's going to be the emotional side of things, right? The highest path is the path of emotions. And so this can be tied to this emotional situation that is going on. It can indicate that you are using the wrong judgment in your temperance, and so there is also that. Next, we're going to go to the area of physical desires. This can be sexual relations. It does govern lust and chastity, the overconsumption of the pleasures of the flesh, the underconsumption of the pleasures of the flesh, and neither one are intrinsically good. You today, here in your physical desires, now this is not merely sexual activity. This can be a business. If you want to create a business, that is a physical desire. If you want provision in your life, that is a physical desire. So this is not just sexual, but it is a sexual area. You've got the High Priestess in reverse. The High Priestess is the choice. This is the choice to become a magician. The one card is realizing the path of the magician exists. The 2 card is, hey, look, I want to walk that path, or you don't. Either one is a valid choice. Next up would be the Empress, which I believe we've got the Emperor, not the Empress. Next would be the Empress, where you start to assimilate the divine feminine, and then the Emperor, where you start to assimilate the divine masculine. Right? And so this is beginning the path of the mortal, of the spiritual things, not necessarily the mortal. She is seated upon her throne of authority between the 2 pillars of Boaz and Yakim, which is light and dark. She is seated in the middle because you are supposed to be balanced between them. Remember the conversation about the vices and the virtues? And so this is represented as making the choice about the magical path, right? That is a provisionary path. And she is making the choice to become the magician. Now you have this in the reverse. If this is you making the choice to become the magician, you have probably already made the choice to become the magician in the reverse. It is probably not in this context that you are not choosing to become the magician. But if you are going to walk the path, there are requirements, and those requirements are that you understand some thoughts, right? Or you give nurturing energy to the thoughts. Now, this is swords. We have had a lot of sword energy. And swords are about combat, but they're about thoughts and communication, right? And so this is a link. This link would indicate in the personal relationship things, right? You communicate with people, you understand people, and then this is desiring, and so the creation and the interaction. This is her in that nurturing energy we were talking about, appropriate energy to the appropriate harvest, like your judgment card. And she is sitting upright. And so this is about a thought, an idea, or a communication. Now you do have all of this energy in the communication spot. This indicates using the right energy, the fully developed, mature divine feminine, where this one was not. This one is. And so this one is you giving the appropriate energy to this choice that you have probably already made. Now, this is what you're trying to create in your life, what you want to bring into your life. And if you have made the decision to become a magician, then that understanding of your thoughts, the nurturing of your thoughts in the appropriate way, will definitely help in that decision. Next, we go to provision. This is, do you have a job? Do you have a car? Do you have food? Do you have money? Are you provided for? This is the base. This is the area that governs love and wrath, and those are the things that are most common. And love is the thing that we need for existence, and wrath is the thing when we have when we don't get that love back. You've got the Emperor. Now, the Emperor is a provision card, right? The Emperor is just coming into the ability to be wealthy. Right, this is step 4 on the provisionary higher path, right? You're not working the common job. This is assuming the authority. With the 1, you see that there is responsibility. With 2, you make a decision. 3, you learn. 4 is about understanding. And so in order to understand, right, you have to embrace the divine masculine. This is a representative of the divine masculine as a teenager. He's a little bit capricious. He's a little bit mean-spirited. He's a little bit vengeful, right? The things you would expect from a teenage boy. When he is standing upright, that is the expectation. He is in the reverse, which may indicate that you have some of that maturity. When he is upright, he has just stepped into the path of provisionary, right? The generational provision, the being wealthy. Not just barely making and not just scraping by, but truly wealthy. The ability to be able to be generous when he is standing tall. Now, this is in the reverse, which may indicate that your current situation is not that you are in a system of deprivation, possibly. But this is an understanding about the greater provisionary path. This is indicating that the situation is going to turn around, right? If it was going to be that you were going to continue in a deprived state, this would have been the Five of Pentacles, for example, or another one of those challenge cards for money. This is not a challenge card for money. This is understanding how money works. This is making the appropriate investments and receiving the returns. This is generational provision beginning, right? And it is almost there for you. It is presenting itself to you in the reverse, which is not the current situation, but imminent. Now, what steps can be taken? We got the Temperance in reverse. We've already talked about the Temperance, right? This is a harvest. There is a harvest of the secondary path, which is the path of thoughts that you need to master. Now, once again, this is being presented in the reverse, which may indicate that you need to back out of your Temperance just a little bit here in the provisionary path around a thought to reach the understanding that will bring that generational wealth. Now we go to the Divine, and this is a direct message from the Divine to you. It is not colored by any of the virtues and vices. The Divine has the virtues and vices in perfect balance. Have you made your guesses? Overall, so far, right, we're going to look at the board. I know it's late, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 16 cards are the major arcana. This is a heavy lesson today. There are a lot of energies. The major arcana, they come in pretty strong most of the time. Sometimes they're a little bit subtle, but mostly they're strong. A lot of them are being presented in the reverse, so it may be a subtler energy. But on top of that, you've got 1, 2, 3 direct swords cards, and then there were 3 more indirect swords cards. So this may be either a King of Swords, indicating the end of that path, or maybe the World, indicating that harvest. Let's see. Oh, the Three of Wands. Okay, so the Three of Wands is a card about learning, because threes are about learning, and it's wands, the first wand that you've had up here today, so completely surprising. But wands are about spirit, they are fire, they are life light logos, intuition, and change. And so this can indicate that there is something to learn about change or about intuition. It is being presented to you in the reverse. Now, this is one of the isolation cards. The threes are either a spirit of cooperation or a spirit of isolation. The Three of Cups is 3 women celebrating. The Three of Pentacles is 3 people planning to work on something. The Three of Wands, he is by himself, so this is an isolation card. This is dependent upon you, not the group. But it is in reverse, so it may be the opposite. This is about learning, about change. And what is going on in this card is he has made a decision, right? He was presented with a path with the ace. He made a decision with the 2, and now he is learning about that decision. His decision was to send some ships out with investments, and now he is waiting to learn whether those investments will return. You've got this in the reverse. Now, if this is waiting for your investments to return, this is you trying to make some investments, right? This is you learning how to do that type of thing. This isn't necessarily tied to money. That's just something easy to use. This is about change, more likely, or intuition, probably. And so this can be that you have intuition about a situation and it is not quite correct. That is definitely one of the interpretations for this. And there is something for you to learn. Let's see what our clarifier is going to be. I'm not even going to bother to guess. Oh, the Five of Swords. Okay, so more swords energy, and this one is directly confrontational. This is a victorious conflict, however. This was presented in the upright, so it means exactly what it says. We have the 5, which is about a challenge. Once you have the understanding of the 4, you can rise to the challenge with the 5. This is the Knight energy on a smaller level. This is about swords, again with the swords energy. And so this can be a thought, a communication, or some combat, but it is conflict in your life. This guy has already defeated these people, however. So the conflict when the Five of Swords produces can be almost over. Almost to the end, right? These people are walking away. They have left their weapons of war, and he is standing here victorious. That is done. And so, if we take these two cards in consideration of everything else that is on the table, it does appear that there is something to learn about an intuition or some change happening in your life. It does appear that this is possibly, right, if this was presented upright, this is you by yourself, there is some possible cooperation with this. If so, it will be cooperation around change. It's not going to be cooperation about emotions. It's not going to be cooperation about the path of revision. This is about change, and while those things can be part of change, this is specifically about the change. Now, the way that you get to the change, which you are trying to enact, the divine is giving you a message that change, you have something to learn about this change or intuition, is by rising to meet the challenge of this thought. Now, this thought appears to be an internal reflection, seeing as how we have all of the rest of these cards. It does appear that you have a misunderstanding about a situation, that you have a choice to make about that misunderstanding, and that what is being recommended to you is that you become the fool. You try to learn about the situation instead of just making assumptions. Go out and get the actual experience instead of just trying to rely upon what you think that you know. Many of the things that we think that other people are thinking, they're not. Most people don't think about you most of the time. There are exceptions, right? I think about my spouse a lot, but other than that, nobody really cares. You should be concerned if there are factual inconsistencies, right? If somebody is lying about you and that causes conflict, that is a betrayal and you should walk away. But if it is only in your mind, as this kind of appears to be, then maybe you need to relax a little bit. This temperance has been a recurring theme over the last couple of days. In reverse, that indicates that you are holding on a little bit too tightly to something. I can't tell you exactly what that something is, but it is related to a challenge and your provisionary path. That's going to bring us to the end of the read, and hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion. If you like what I'm doing over here, let me know down below. Give me a like, a share, a follow, throw me a comment whether you agree or disagree with anything that was stated. Put it in the box down below, and if it remains respectful, it gets to remain up. If you really like what I'm doing over here, hit me with that super thanks. Consider joining for a membership or picking up a copy of my book where I teach you to do magic responsibly. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt State. Peace.